Good Saturday morning, my darling Rachel. Who is Rachel, you ask, and why am I saying good morning to her? Well, I'll be honest. Rachel Newstead, ladies and gentlemen, she requested that I do this cartoon. And by the way, you can't make a request without sending it to the email. What email? Well, I don't have it in front of me and I don't remember it, but it's at the end of this video, so point is, don't leave them in the comments. Don't leave the request for commentaries in the comments, because I won't get it. Now, Rachel was so lovely to make this request, and I don't necessarily know what her reason was for picking this cartoon, but I will tell you this, that I'm not a fan of the Bosko cartoons, but this is one of the few that I like, and I'll tell you why, because if you're a fan of Robert McKimson, you're probably a bigger fan of him as an animator. There's a good chance, I would say. Either way, you love his animation, and this cartoon this is the cartoon where it stopped looking like, just rubber hose, movement and, stuff like that. And he actually, there was some caricature work in here. There was some real acting and performance going on, like this, There's a Jimmy Durante joke coming up. We had a Jimmy Durante thing last week, actually. But there's so much going on in here that it's on a technical level and on an emotional level that really, at least in my estimation, we didn't see before this cartoon. I wouldn't count it personally as being any more or any less entertaining than any of the other the Bosko cartoons that came before it. But by the way, when I see this gag with the this is different, but whenever a glove comes off while someone's playing piano and the glove moves around in some way, it always reminds me of Chuck Jones and the whole thing about the. By the way, that's Johnny Murray doing that voice. It reminds me of Chuck Jones when they do that, because also Chuck tried to muscle that whole gag of the pulling the glove off and it taking forever. He tried to get that put in the Ink and Paint Club scene in Roger Rabbit. Boring stuff. Yeah. Boring. Anyway, I tried to find what that step was he was doing just a little while ago. That's Nickelodeon right there, baby. If you remember Looney Tunes on Nickelodeon, you remember that pose. So yeah, I mentioned the voices. Johnny Murray, Honey is voiced by either Rochelle Hudson or Carmen Maxwell. I don't remember. But yeah, that right there, that dance. I can't look at it and not immediately think of Looney Tunes on Nickelodeon. Oh, dude, you know what? I didn't do my homework on this. I'm supposed to know who that is, and I don't remember at the moment. I forget who is she doing here? I basically sound like every bad impression when you're at a party with somebody and they do a bad impression. They're like, "Oh wow, that's great. Who were you doing just then?" But this is obviously a reference to John Waters. Obviously. But yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier with McKimson really conveying, like, to be able to have a caricature of a physical caricature move in three-dimensional space and have it be recognizable at all angles and move in a funny way. McKimson was really the first to be able to do that. And you can see that here. I mean, in 33, they were just starting to get more sophisticated at Warner's. And really, I feel like Hugh and Frizz had to know that they had to have had him in mind, McKimson in mind for this, because I can't imagine that they wanted all of this, and even at the angle, like that angle just now, it wasn't a direct angle like this. It was at a 45-degree sort of, and like that was something else that McKimson was able to do back then better than anybody, was odd angles. But I can't imagine them not being able, or not saying, oh yeah, well we'll do this because McKimson can do some really crazy stuff like this right here with this trippy stuff. Yeah, I'm sure they were cognizant of what McKimson was doing at this time. Again, Looney Tunes on Nickelodeon. And if you really want to praise McKimson and talk about Looney Tunes on Nickelodeon, think of the number of pieces of animation that he either directed or animated that appeared on that intro. I'd say most of them. Is everybody happy? Yeah, but see all that, that guy's face. They weren't that, yet that sophisticated until right around this time. I don't know. It's a worthy of note cartoon, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Rachel.